Hey guys, so we're back here with another fight night that me and CJ, we kind of cover the fights. We watch the UFC. I watch a lot of boxing too. I think CJ is more into the UFC, but I watch pretty much any fight. I even watch the bare knuckle type stuff, but I super follow UFC and boxing. So we watched the fight last weekend of Izzy and Strickland, and of course. Like most people, we picked Izzy to win. I think we said we picked him as a KO in the second round.
Second round, we all agreed on that. Honestly,
yeah.
Everybody that talked about the fight, including Young Lion, Young Buck, we were all in agreement that Izzy. We thought Izzy would finish it early with the TKO.
Yeah, and so obviously we were all wrong, and I think Strickland was like either plus 600 or plus 700, something like that. So this is definitely a huge upset. And plus, it was really, I mean, some people have kind of went back and forth on it, but it was almost like domination. I mean, you could kind of get into how much did Strickland really land or whatever, but he was walking Izzy down the whole fight, regardless of whatever you know. I know Strickland didn't really land like a lot of stuff per se other than that first round. But he was just walking Izzy down, and that wore Izzy out because he was just running, trying to reset, then fire off with stuff. Everything would get blocked. Sometimes he would get countered, sometimes he wouldn't. And getting walked down like that just wears you out mentally, physically, and he was just getting walked down. Yeah. Now, I guess we could start off. Well, let's just start off before we get, I guess, to the rematch part of it. Let's just start off with the actual fight itself. We're both obviously surprised. It was a total stand-up fight. Obviously, most people would think that Strickland would go in and take him down. I actually didn't think Strickland would try and take him down because he didn't try and take down Poatan.
Or Magomedov.
Yeah, so I thought he would stand up fight. I just thought he would get knocked out. That's all I thought. I didn't think he would try and take him down. So
well, and we were talking, before the fight last week, like, if you watch the Magomedov fight, Strickland looked off in that fight. He did. Like, he was almost... his stance is weird anyway. We were talking about he almost looks like a drunken guy, like, trying to square up. But, whereas it didn't work in the Magomedov fight, like Pops was saying, it almost seemed like he was shutting off his ability to, like, reset and get those kicks off. Because if you watched in the first round, Izzy was throwing decent kicks all over the place. Until that last minute, and then Strickland caught him, and it seemed like after that, every time Izzy would start to get a little bit of a momentum, Strickland would block, Strickland would, throw some shots of his own. Obviously, some of them didn't land. But it was easy to say, even if you weren't looking at it from a strictly points thing, I can't really see where anybody would say that Izzy won this fight. Because the judges even scored it 4-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And aside from that first round, up until where Strickland threw those punches, Izzy did have more strikes, but the impact of those strikes that Strickland threw at the end, when he has him and he's just, waylaying on his head,
yeah,
I think that was the start of Izzy's downfall. And I'll give Izzy this, like, even though Izzy looked off the whole time, Dana White even said that there was something off about Izzy. He just did not seem like he was fully prepared for this fight. He didn't get KO'd, he didn't submit, but Izzy looked off. Izzy looked bad in this fight. He did.
Yeah. And that's the thing people were going back and forth on. Well, did he look bad because of Strickland or did he look bad because he was having an off night? Personally, just from my perspective, I think he was having an off night. I think, I don't really have anything against Strickland. He's not my favorite fighter or anything. He's just a dude to me. I don't really like the dude. I don't really hate the dude. So I'm not trying to down him. He went in and did his job. But I do think that Izzy was having an off night. He seemed a lot slower. His reflexes seemed slower. It just didn't seem like he was really there, like, mentally. And I think he does, as a champion, he fights a lot. And I think you can only do, the stuff they do leading up to these championship fights with all the media and the press and all that, and then just the actual training itself. And especially as, you move into your 30s, I think you can really only kind of keep that up and do that so many times a year before that kind of starts to have an effect on you. I think this is one of those times where it just kind of caught up with him. I don't think he was really fully there, fully mentally. And who knows what's going on mentally in a dude's head. I know he's like getting a divorce or he
Yeah.
has a girl breaking up or whatever. So, I don't know, but like I just think he's fighting a lot, and it just caught up with him in this fight.
Well, I also think that he was supposed to fight Dos Plazos,
Yes.
but he had to back out. So Strickland took this fight on semi-short notice. So I think that probably changed up his way of handling a fight. And the thing is like, this is, you guys are fighting. There's no excuses. You're stepping in the octagon. You still got to go in there, But if you're preparing for somebody who fights like Dos Plazos, and then you have Strickland, they're not the same type of fighter. And Sean Strickland came ready this time. Because if you watch that Magomedov fight, he looked like he was taking a lot of shots. And he wasn't really doing well defending and blocking. He took a lot of punishment in that fight. This fight, I even sold you. If you remember last week when we were talking about it, I was like, Sean Strickland has to be able to throw strikes consistently. He has to stay out of range of Izzy's kicks and then still keep the pressure. And what did I say? He has to defend himself. He can't take the shots that he took in the Magomedov fight. And he did that.
Yeah, he did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you can really. I mean, I guess that's really the there's basically two main debates to this fight is was it Izzy or was it Strickland, and then the rematch. So the rematch. Now my take on rematches is I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, not immediately. I guess I should clarify that. Not immediate rematches. Of course, Izzy eventually needs to get another chance if Strickland would be there. I don't think he really deserves an immediate rematch. This was pretty much domination. He just lost to Poatan, and he did win it back, fair enough, but now he lost again. I think it's time to get some new blood up in there, give him a try, give that Duplessis, or however you say that guy's name.
Duplessis,
give
Costas.
Costa, Cosmot.
Yep. There's a lot of good middleweight fighters that haven't really had a shot at the belt.
Right.
And I think that's something Pops and I were talking about was we were just talking about Sean O'Malley and Aljo. And Aljo, before he lost to Sean, he had multiple title defenses. Now, as we said, for whatever reason, people did not like Aljo, including Dana White. So I think some of that has to do with why he isn't being given an immediate rematch. Plus, Aljo said that he was going to go up to 145, and as soon as he lost, he walked that back. Our issue is that Izzy lost the belt, got an immediate rematch, won the belt, and his first title defense was against Strickland, and he lost it. And now they're immediately saying that Izzy's going to get a rematch. And when Pops and I were talking about it, I think Pops summed it up so perfectly because he said, so basically what you're telling me is Izzy got a rematch, got the belt. That's a 6 months preparation for that fight. He immediately went into this fight. Now, this one wasn't 6 months because it was short notice. But he's saying there's a rematch. If Izzy wins this fight, which is going to be at least a 6 month preparation thing, because they're going to make sure Izzy has his time, because say what you want, Izzy is a Dana White privilege guy. He gets that Dana White privilege a lot. He does. If Izzy wins, then you have to. I'm sorry, this is a case where you have to give Sean Strickland the rematch. You do. It's just not fair for his first rematch to be against the same guy he just beat. So you'd have to give Strickland. And in that time span, you're talking about a year and a half in that division of Dos Plazos, Costa, Cosmot, other guys that we aren't even talking about that are solid contenders and could definitely be a future title holder, and you're not giving them any chances because you're still catering to Izzy.
Exactly. It just ties up a division for way too long. Other guys need a shot, and we just seen it. This was domination. So, and I also think that if they start kind of doing I don't mind like an immediate rematch in certain cases, and it would be like a case by case basis.
Yeah.
But I don't believe they should be automatic, and I believe that would put pressure on the champion to understand that, like, I might have to work my way back up, so I need to be on my game for this. Secondly, it's going to give other people new blood. They're going to be able to get up in there. They're going to be able to get a shot. Like, it shouldn't be, like we were saying, it should be the South African guy It should be the Duplessis guy, whatever. It should be Costa, Kamzat.
Yeah.
It should be somebody else getting a shot at Strickland next, in my opinion. Not Izzy. And we don't need to be tying up the division, this and then. We don't need to be doing all that. Like,
Izzy's lost the belt twice in his last 3 fights.
Yes. That pretty much sums it up right there.
So I think he should have to work his way back up to get another title shot. Izzy's still one of the greatest middleweight fighters of all time.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that.
And plus, it's like I was telling CJ earlier, was that like, now let's just say that, which a lot of people will probably, again, I hear that Strickland's they're already saying he's the underdog again for the rematch. And so I'm assuming a lot of people are going to pick Izzy in the rematch, which honestly, I'm not so sure now that I've seen it. But like, let's just say that Izzy loses again. Well, what does that do to Izzy now? Now he's like, so what's he? I mean, so now he knows he can't beat Strickland. So now he has to fight these other guys. I don't think he's big enough to move up to 205, and he's too slight of a frame. He's tall, but he's got the slight frame, and so now he's kind of locked into this sort of, now he needs someone to beat Strickland, and then maybe he could beat that guy or something like that. So just let the dude work his way back up, because Duplessis might beat Strickland, and then the styles make fights, like Ali said, and freaking Izzy might be able to beat, or maybe Costa beats Strickland. Well, we already know what Kamzat, and we already know what Izzy did to Costa back when they fought the first time.
Well,
so I mean,
go
ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was it.
Well, my other thing is like, we're talking about momentum. So, Izzy fights, loses, and then he loses again. According to Dana White, that means that he's talking about retiring you. That's usually what happens when you have a guy who's getting up there in age, even though they're the greats. I mean, he did it with Chuck. He just talked about it with Weidman. He was just talking about Weidman needing to retire too. Now, Weidman was a different story because his was injury related. But then you're starting to talk about, well, Izzy lost the belt, won it back, lost again. Out of the last 4 fights, that's 3 losses.
Well, I think what sums it up best is just, and it's even recent, is just the Aljo. Like we were talking earlier, you have Aljo who literally just, in my opinion, the 135-pound, the best fighter in 135-pound is Henry Cejudo. And like, I understand, like he was out for 3 years and all that, but Aljo still, he came back. That's a tough task for.
And Peter Yan is no joke either.
Yeah, that's a tough task for Aljo to beat Cejudo, and that's a tough task for Cejudo to come back after that layup. But I'm just saying that Henry, to me, is like, I think he's the best at that weight, and he came back. And Aljo beat him fair and square. Mm-hmm. And literally within a month, Dana White's talking like,
let's fight Sean.
Yeah, he needs to fight. Now he needs to fight O'Malley in August. No less. It's like the dude just fought. He's like trying to still heal up. The training camp, the fight. Mm-hmm. He's trying to heal up a little bit. He's like, give me another month to heal up. And Dana White's talking about, no, it's going to be an interim championship if you don't want to fight Sean like in August, and talking about like he can't seem to get out of his own way. It's just like, the dude just fought. You know what I mean? How many times a year does John Jones fight? Yeah. I mean, come on, man. The dude just fought. So, I mean,
it's that whole Dana White.
That's exactly,
Dana White guys.
Yeah, so he don't like Aljo. That's exactly what it is. And so now, and then Aljo, so he lost. Well, he's obviously not getting an immediate rematch because O'Malley's going to fight Cheeto. So,
and then like there's talks about like they want to do a Cejudo and O'Malley.
I like to see it. I like Cejudo.
There's quite a few bantamweights that I think would give Sean a tough test too.
Yeah.
But
I like to see him fight Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Sandhagen.
Oh man. Yeah. But my thing is like 100% agree, because Aljo, everyone's mad at Aljo still about, we talked about this in the actual fight itself, about the strike and how a lot of people say that he was overacting and he was too dramatic with it. And ever since then, they've come up with an excuse for every fight that he was in. There was an excuse why he won. Yan, Cejudo, TJ. Now, granted, the TJ one we've talked about, and that one was a little... dude was already kind of injured, and...
Which is on TJ, though. TJ shouldn't have freaking took the fight.
But TJ's another Dana White guy. That dude's gotten in trouble for other stuff. John Jones. John Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time, but that dude has been in more trouble out of the ring than anybody in history, and he still gets chances.
Yeah.
I love Sean O'Malley as a fighter, but he gives Sean O'Malley so many pushes that it's crazy.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is the greatest example of all.
Yep.
And it's just, I like Izzy as a fighter. I do. Izzy, he's one of those guys that he made the middleweight division relevant for a while. Because Silva, you can say what you want. You can argue there's obviously several guys who you could put underneath Silva, but Silva is still the standard bearer.
Yeah.
There's no, it's just like, when you talk about certain guys, like whether you like him or not, GSP, even though I can't stand John Jones, I mean, dude still hasn't lost.
Yep.
Those guys are GOATs for a reason, but when it's their time, it's their time. And I think Izzy needs to step back and reevaluate, do something, because he should not be in another title fight. He shouldn't.
No.
And if you're going to do that, then you need to step up and give Aljo the title fight, because Aljo's more of a fighting champion than Izzy was.
Yeah, well, no, I think Izzy's definitely a fighting champion.
I'm saying that successfully defended.
Yeah.
And recent. There for a while, Izzy was on a streak for a while.
He beat everybody, yeah.
But Aljo
deserves a rematch.
Yeah. I mean,
if that's what you're doing, then Aljo deserves,
And
so
you can say what you want, but Aljo beat 3 of the best during his title reign. We're talking Peter Yan, Cejudo, Dillashaw.
But there again, I'll be honest with you, that is a good example, because I'm not really interested in seeing Aljo Sean next. But I'm not big on immediate rematches. Yeah. So I'm just saying that, like, if you're going to kind of have this idea that, like, the champion deserves an automatic immediate rematch, well then Aljo should have it too. I don't really want to see Aljo O'Malley fight again, honestly. Like, not right now. I do want to see O'Malley fight Cheeto, or I like to see him fight Sandhagen. Or Cejudo, actually. Yeah. Even Cejudo, I like to see him. Yeah. I like to see new blood up in there to get another chance. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, let the other guy get another fight or two. Mm-hmm. And I think it directly applies to Izzy, because I believe the dude, he's a fighting champion. He didn't turn down any fights. He didn't duck anyone.
Division for a grip.
Yeah, he fights everyone. And I just think it was it's time probably. Yeah, I know he's in his early, probably 33, 34 years old, something like that. It's like, it's time to take a little bit of a break. Let your body really heal.
People are also, with Izzy, because of the out of the ring stuff, some people, Dana always likes to go for the people that bring in money.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Yeah. And Izzy, with the recent stuff where he's like held the Chinese flag, there's the weird stuff that's been out about his dog.
Yeah.
Like, people are starting to get tired of Izzy. So maybe it's a good idea for him to step back.
And there's a chance he might be bi, which isn't going to be popular among fighters.
Yeah.
So
especially fight fans.
Our fight fans,
yeah.
Right. So.
Some fight fans, they don't really like different.
No.
They don't. I agree. I think if we're talking about who Strickland should fight next, it should be Dos Plazos, should be Costa.
Or the winner of the Costa-Kamzat match is what I think. One of those.
That's a good idea, yeah.
I really think it should be the
I think it should be Duplessis, because he was supposed to fight this fight, and he had to back out.
And that's going to be a good fight. And honestly, I think it's going to be Duplessis.
I can't say his name right.
He's a South African guy, because he always gives Izzy a hard time about being African.
So for me, I think if he's available, that's the smart fight. If he's not available, then you go Costa, Kamzat, whoever wins gets the next title shot.
Yeah.
And then when Dos Plazos is ready, he gets the next shot.
You could. Yeah. Well, I don't know how long he's out. For.
I don't know. I don't either. I didn't see, but I'm just saying, like, we agree that Dos Plazos should get the first shot because it was supposed to be his title shot. Strickland stepped in.
Yep.
And then if he's not available, then it should go Kamzat, Costa, because they're the next two.
Their fight's next month.
Yep.
So this is going to be pretty.
It'd be perfect.
Yep.
And then if Dos Plazos is ready, then you let him go. If not, I think you should. If Strickland loses the belt, you could throw in Izzy or Dos Plazos or whoever loses between the Costas and Kamzat, and do something there and make that the person the next number one contender. Just to kind of switch it up so it's not always the same fight. Because that's the problem is, I'm a WWE fan too, and one of the things that they do wrong is they'll make a really good match between two wrestlers, but then for the next 7 months, they have several matches and people are just like, again? Like, we're tired of it.
Yeah.
And this is real stuff, and we're seeing that with some of these fighters. Like, nobody wants to see Izzy get an immediate rematch after he got an immediate rematch after he lost the belt.
Yeah. And plus, it was total domination of the fight. It wasn't really like a back and forth knockdown. He knocked Strickland down, Strickland knocked him down. They went back. It wasn't like one of those type of fights.
It wasn't Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, where you could have argued it could have went either way.
Right. So to me, like which we've already said, we're beating a dead horse. Shouldn't be a rematch. Izzy needs to work his way back up. It is what it is. I personally don't think Strickland is an exciting fighter to watch. You can watch his Cannonier fight. It's pretty much played out like this fight did. He's a very good boxer. I almost think at this point in time that like a wrestler is almost going to have to beat Strickland. I don't think you're going to be able to come in and go toe to toe with him hands wise and beat him. Obviously we all thought Izzy was better. He might have had an off night. Maybe Izzy can get rested up and maybe he could get him like he did with Poatan. But I'll be honest with you, at this point in time, with the way that fight looked, if they rematch, I'm almost betting on Strickland.
Me too.
I mean, he's in Izzy's head. He was walking him down. That's a 5-round fight where Izzy did jack shit.
And it all started that first round. Those shots he took, they got into Izzy's head.
Yeah.
Because Izzy wasn't ready for those shots. Because you were this close for that fight ending in a TKO.
I'll tell you another good fight, an excellent. It's one of the all-time great fights. Is what's the little dude that used to fight at 170? Mexican dude. A little Mexican. He's like a little dude, but like he never could make weight, so he went up to 185. He gave Izzy like one hell of a.
Is it no? I was thinking Alvarez, but that's too.
No, it's not Alvarez. He's too small. It's the man. I can't remember the guy's name, but.
We'll think of it later, of course.
But like he went back and forth, and he's a good boxer too. He went back and forth with Izzy, like big time. And I'm just, in other words, a good boxer seems to give him problems. And Sean Strickland's a good boxer.
It's like Matt Serra and GSP. GSP was on a huge run, and Matt Serra gave GSP all he wanted.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you find that fighter who just has the perfect counters for that fighter.
Yep.
And sometimes it's only lightning in a bottle for that one night, but this is the fight game.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you're a football fan, it doesn't matter what you did the rest of the season. On that one day, you got to be able to beat somebody. Yep. If you can't,
you might actually be the better team, but like that, it only matters today. This is what matters right now.
And in fighting,
like overall, Izzy is probably a better fighter than Strickland.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? He's got more speed, this, that, and the other. But like, can he actually beat Strickland? And so far, it seems like that's a no.
It's crazy how the momentum shifted from that combo at the end of the first, and then the rest of the fight, he controlled the pace, he controlled the momentum. Izzy was never able to we're beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy how Izzy has always been really good all around at his striking, and Strickland took a lot of that.
I think the thing is though, is at some point in time, it's just like you don't really understand because Izzy did do it in that fight with the Mexican kid I'm talking about.
Yep.
Like at some point in time, he knows he's losing the fight.
Yeah.
And you just need to go for broke.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's easy for me to say I'm sitting here on Saturday night drinking a brew. Just get in there, man. I understand it, but it is what it is. It's like you're losing the fight. You're going to lose the fight. So at some point in time, I think you just need to kind of throw around that 4th or 5th round. I think you should have just said, "This is it. I'm going after
Diego Sanchez style. Just start throwing haymakers.
Just get in there, start going. Even if he took Strickland down, something to get like the upper hand, something to kind of throw something. Maybe wear him down a little bit, something. Kind of throw him off his game. But all he did was get walked down, reset, get walked down, reset, get walked down, and that was the whole fight. But that is the way a lot of Strickland. That's basically kind of like the Cannonier fight went with Strickland. But Strickland's a counter fighter too, so I don't really enjoy watching him fight. He still is basing all his game off what you're doing. You know what I mean? So he's not an exciting fighter to watch. He's very good at boxing, but he's kind of like a Floyd Mayweather type. You know what I mean? It's like very good
Floyd
defensively.
Mayweather is so annoying to me to watch.
Yeah, he's hard to land on. Solid.
And
but
he's a hugger.
He's going to counter you though, and he's just going to sit there, and you can't hardly hit him, and he's just going to counter you if you do anything. And it's just that's kind of the way Strickland is. I mean, it's great, I guess, doing this against Izzy, but like, yeah, I mean, I really hope that he loses.
Are you talking about Yair?
No, it's not Yair.
Condit?
No, not Condit. I'll know. I like the dude. I'll know him as soon as you say his name.
Let's see. We're looking up that 170 fighter that neither one of us can think of.
Just put in Izzy versus and what comes up.
Oh, Izzy's like, yeah, there we go. Adesanya fight history. Okay. So up here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this dude. I really should know his name, but like I can't remember names for this shit.
Well, and I just think Strickland, he is boring, but sometimes when you're talking about somebody like Izzy, who is an exciting fighter to watch, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so Vittori, Pereira, Whitaker, Cannonier, Blackowicz, Costa, Romero, Whitaker.
Gastelum.
Okay.
Gastelum's
So he's talking about Kellen Gastelum.
Yes. Who's an excellent boxer. And he's also, if I remember right, he's a southpaw. And that he gave freaking. He's like 5'9". He used to fight at 170, 5'9", 170.
And the sad thing is like that fight ended in round 2 at a KO. So even though it was only a 2-round.
No, not that fight. No, Kevin Gastelum didn't. It went the distance. No, he
sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Did I look at the wrong fight?
Yeah, you have to. I watched that.
Let me see. Gastelum.
It went to a decision.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
That was Cousin Jeffro's fault. Little Debbie was wrong.
Yeah, he's going to be ejected. Yeah, that was an excellent fight. It's one of my favorite fights. Like, of course, I was rooting for the littler guy. Plus, I like Kevin Gastelum. Like, he's a good stand-up guy. Yeah. And like, man, he gave Izzy like a run for his money, man, like big time. And but he's an excellent boxer, and he's got a good chin. Mm-hmm. Now, Izzy did land a lot of shots on him, but he, like I said, he's actually 170 pounder. Yeah. He just couldn't make weight, so he had to move up to 185. Because he's like 5'9". He's a littler dude. And, like, he gave Izzy everything Izzy wanted, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So boxers may be his kryptonite.
Could be. Well, and no matter what, we may not be fans of Strickland, but you can easily say, if you're looking at the odds, this fight is the biggest amount of odds against Strickland winning were set before this fight happened. And this is easily one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. We were talking about it. It's right up there with Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey. Right up there with Matt Serra versus GSP. Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. Like, you could throw in a bunch of those for sure. Honestly, Nate Diaz choked getting Conor McGregor. Yeah. Nobody expected that at that time. That was Conor's first loss.
Yeah.
And Sean Strickland, in my opinion, kind of beat them all because nobody thought that Sean Strickland was winning this fight. Yep. Vegas odds, what was it, plus 600?
Yep.
Like, so if you bet $20 on Sean Strickland, you probably made out with a ton of cash.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
So, at the end of it all, I think we pretty much summed it up.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have a rematch, and Izzy's going to have problems with evidently boxers, and the rematch, I guess, since Dana White said it's going to happen, who do you think's going to win it? The rematch.
Right now, unless we see something that Izzy changes up, I'm going to go Strickland.
I think I am too.
I can't trust Izzy after the way he looked.
And he's not going to wrestle. Yeah. We know he's not going to try and wrestle him.
And it would be crazy if Strickland actually takes it more of a wrestling fight next time. Yeah,
but Strickland won't either. So, I mean, I really almost have to say that I really think Strickland would probably beat him again. Yeah. And then Izzy's in no man's land. Then until the South African comes up or someone beats. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, how he matches up, he could beat Costa. I think he's going to have trouble with Khamzat, and I think he'll have trouble with that South African. I'm talking about Strickland.
Yeah, I think Dos Plazos is the person I would most likely see him being able to win it. Now, Kamza, he's a bad dude, but I'm not a fan of his.
I'm not either. He's going to wrestle, though. He's going to come out and take it. And I've never really seen Strickland's wrestling game. I mean, they all say he can wrestle, but we can sit here and talk about that. I haven't seen the dude. He always wants to stand up, so.
And it's either his kryptonite or it's what helps him win a fight.
Yeah.
Typically, so.
Yeah.
I agree. So let us know what you guys think. Obviously, people are going to have opinions about the rematch. I know that this was huge on my social media feed afterwards. People were in shock about how crazy of an upset this was. So, send us some thoughts. Also, just like we do with music, if you guys ever have a fight that you want us to look at, as a reaction, we're more than willing to do so. Until then, we'll probably just come up with fights that have just happened or come up with some of our favorite fights to review.
Yep. Yes, sir. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.